Now, this is a question that often comes to mind, especially as a coach. I help women find their later in life purpose, discover it, find it, and I guess you could say get inspired, motivated to move forward. And I also consult those women who already know their later in life purpose. Often it's a business that they want to launch, and I help them through the foundational process, more of a consulting role, but I guess you could say, as a partner, like I actually help them with the research and ideas and all that stuff, just to get them moving along the path. And often I notice a lot of people are wondering, how do people get inspired? What is it that make people truly want to pursue their goals and actually stick to it? So think about this. Remember the old, I guess you could say the old saying, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Now, no matter how this topic of inspired is tackled, the question remains a mystery, just as which comes first, the chicken or the egg. Do you need to be inspired to aspire? Say that again. Do you need to be inspired to aspire? Or do you need an aspiration to get inspired? Now, the same holds true for the second question. Others may argue that in order to have a strong desire to achieve something, you must be inspired. Now, on the other hand, some argue that for you to be inspired, you may need to aspire first. Now, this is very much like the chicken and the egg question, right? There is no definite answer concerning inspiration versus aspiration. The best course of action is to discover how to get people inspired rather than focusing on which is the right answer. Now, for some people, inspiration helps them to stay motivated and become an achiever. So, how do people get inspired? The feeling of frustration often forces some to seek inspiration, and some need to experience unpleasant circumstances that triggers an inspiration, such as being fired from a job or maybe just not making enough money, that constant frustration in their circumstances. Now, this path may not be at all pleasant, but who says that the road to greater achievement is always smooth sailing? Now, take for instance the case of an average earner. So she earns just enough for her family's survival. And on her way to work, she could see that other people are struggling. Maybe they're barely having 3 square meals a day or hardly having anything to keep them warm on a cold night and practically living in a roofless shanty with paper boards as walls. And she can't help. She wants to help but can't. She feels helpless for because she can't do anything to change their condition. Now, this feeling of helplessness urges her to promise herself that her family will never experience extreme poverty. Now, this feeling of frustration inspires her to aspire for a better life for herself and for her family. And her fear that her family might end up like one of the economically challenged people that makes her determined to do something about improving her financial stability. Someone who is successful can be an effective source of inspiration. People tend to look up to someone who has reached the top. They wonder how it is to be like their idol. So they set themselves on a course headed in their idol's direction. They study their idol's past and how he or she was able to overcome all adversities. And people who wish to be inspired associate with successful people. And successful people generally have big ambitions. So, being ambitious and dreaming big dreams can keep the inspiration alive. And being ambitious is actually good as long as you do not step on other people's toes and you provide inspiration to your fellow man. Now, a strong desire can trigger people to get inspired and aspire for it. Again, stay within the confines of good fellowship, not hurting anyone along the way. Now, some people desire popularity. They aspire to be well known in society. They set their sights higher and aim to be recognized and respected. Now, love is a strong motivator. There was once a woman who pursued her love interest. She was able to get married to the guy of her dreams, and her love for her husband motivated her to do the best for her family, to provide for the growing family. Now, love provided the spark and nurtured her dreams to aspire for the best that love has to offer for her and her family. So you see, there are many sources of inspiration that can help you in achieving success in life. Arguing about whichever comes first, whether inspiration or aspiration, is not one of them. The important thing is to find your true source of inspiration and to remain focused in the achievement of your goals.